Hey, have you always wondered why most entrepreneurs fail in business? Perhaps you have failed in your own business. In this video, I'll share with you some rules of entrepreneurship that you may have defaulted in and how to save your business. I'm Mozama and this is Soar Up. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button and also hit the notification bell so that YouTube notifies you every time a new video drops. Now, I'm about to share with you 3 rules of entrepreneurship that you may have defaulted in. The 4th rule will be coming in the next video, so you might want to look out for that. The first rule of entrepreneurship that most people have defaulted in is the rule of mentorship. What is mentorship? Mentorship is the practice of seeking and following a wise and trusted mentor. That's a coach. In business, you need a coach. You need someone who knows the way and has gone the way, one who can lead you on your path to your success. That journey you're about to embark on, there is someone who has gone that way and who knows the way. You might want to find that person and follow him. There's no point trying it all on your own. As much as people like to believe that there is a dimension of wisdom that comes upon one without hassle, so you see them spiritualize it and make it look like truly that's the process. But I'm here to bust your bubble, and I hate to do that. But there is no form of wisdom that comes without a process. There is a process that you must be part of if you want to gain wisdom. So you will need someone to take your hand and lead you on your path to the promised land. You cannot do it just by winging it. You need a coach, you need a mentor. Now keep in mind that the mentee, that's the entrepreneur who wants to start a business, determines the length of the relationship based on his hunger for success, his quest for failure, and his desire for excellence. It is based on these 3 factors that he determines how long that relationship lasts. If he wants to go very far, he would have to determine that based on his hunger for success, his quest for failure, and his drive for excellence. And you know, excellence is a brilliant word because it's based on getting better and better with passing time. So there will always be room for improvement in entrepreneurship. So you start today, keep in mind that there will always be room for improvement because you're trying to get as much market share as you would. So you would need to learn how to generate leads. You will need to learn how to nurture these leads and convert them to customers. You will need to know how to convert these customers to repeat customers. These are processes that a business consultant would help you get through. You can't do it all by yourself. Now, the second rule of entrepreneurship is that money works. As soon as your business starts making money, keep in mind that you would have to convert that money into an employee. So it starts working for you. You move from the point where you're working for money and now money starts working for you. There's a scaring statistics that 82% of businesses fail because they experience cash flow problem. That's a whopping percentage. 82%. And that's because they don't understand that when your business starts making money, you would have to turn that money around to start working for you. Making money as a business person does not cut it for you. You would have to find a way to make that money work for you. And failure to obey this rule will definitely put a stress pressure on your business. You don't want to put undue pressure on your business because you have failed to obey this simple rule. I'll give you 2 tips of how to make your money work for you in business, and be careful to follow through and do them. Number 1, create an investment portfolio. Set aside a certain percentage of your earnings and create an investment portfolio. Put it into an investment portfolio. The benefits of that are: number 1, it reduces your taxable income, so you get to pay less in tax. Number 2, if done properly, over time, this investment portfolio generates the funds sufficient to take care of your operating expenses, like your rent and your employee salary. This becomes a weight lifted off your shoulders. Number 3 is the compounding effect of the investment portfolio. Now, this is probably the largest and the best benefit that you would stand to gain. So, for every time your investment portfolio generates an interest, this interest is put back into the principal for a bigger turnover the next year. You would have done this for some time before it starts taking care of your operating expenses. So these are the benefits you stand to gain. So you start putting out a certain percentage of your earnings into an investment portfolio. Do that for about 5 years or more, and then it starts handling your operating expenses. So your business starts to run on a free flow. There's no more pressure on you to generate money, even though you're in business to do that. The second tip of how to make your money work is putting back into your business. In business, it's called plowing back. You would have to set aside also another percentage of your earnings and put it back into the business. It goes back into the business as part of your operating expenses. That way you have more blood within the system to keep the business running. The third rule of entrepreneurship that you must obey is metamorphosis. As a business, you must keep in mind that you need to change with changing times. You cannot stay rigid. In the history of entrepreneurship, there are a plethora of businesses and organizations that have changed with the changing times. If you fail to change with the changing times, you may fail. And this is not something you want to experience. So keep in mind that you would have to change with changing times. I'll tell you some stories. After the Second World War, Automobile Lamborghini started as a tractor manufacturing company. They were in the business of making tractors with the surplus military paraphernalia that were left after the war. Mr. Ferruccio Lamborghini started that business. However, one day he went to Mr. Enzo Ferrari and asked him, "Why is it that your car always breaks down?" And Mr. Enzo Ferrari answered him and said, "It is because you don't know how to drive luxury cars." And this infuriated Mr. Lamborghini, and he said, "Oh, I'll show you how to make luxury cars." And he decided to morph his business from a tractor manufacturing company into an automobile company, and they started making cars. Now the rest, they say, is history, because Lamborghini now is one of the major automobiles in the world. Their brand is mopping so much money out of the market because of that change. I'll tell you another story, a true story. The company Nokia started as a paper mill company. They were making toilet papers in the 19th century. This was way before the advent of technology. But amazingly, they made a switch to a technology and began to make handheld phones. And in fact, they became famous for making handheld phones. However, in the advent of smartphones, Nokia was unnecessarily slow to adjust to the evolving new market, and thus they went bankrupt. Now imagine this. How would a company that started as a paper mill company and was able to survive all these years, failed just at the brink of success. The CEO of Nokia, in his last public function as the CEO of Nokia, said, "We did nothing wrong, but we still failed." He said that crying. Now, what does that show you? It shows you that any company or organization that fails to metamorphose will eventually fail, because the market does not stay the same. The market is always evolving. The market is always changing, and you've got to change with the changing market. So you'll understand, like those Nokia executives understand now, that the only prerequisite for survival and success is change. If you fail to change, you have definitely marked yourself for failure. The question is, how did Nokia, which was able to survive through the 19th century down to this day, how were they able to survive all these years, changing their business from a paper mill company to a technology company? How did they fail just at the brink of success? That's a question for another day. I'll tell you another story about a company called Peugeot. Peugeot, as you may know it, is an automobile company. But when they started as a coffee mill company. Back in the 20th century, the market size for Peugeot in Africa was enormously large. But something happened and they lost their market. At the start of the 20th century, the size of the market that Peugeot had control over started to dwindle and eventually phased out. So the question is, how did a company that was able to morph from a coffee mill company to an automobile company, how did they fail eventually? Because they lost their market share in Africa. In countries like Nigeria, they stopped production. As at that time, customers were asking for more. They were asking for current models. They needed cars that were much more smarter. Cars that you could open your car trunk with a knob. You could wind down your glass with a knob instead of winding down with a wind. Peugeot was not able to make such cars because they didn't have the technology or the model for those cars, and they started to lose their market. And today, Peugeot is not a household name in Africa. Why? It's because they failed to change when the times changed. I'll give you 3 principles of metamorphosis that you must keep in mind for every business you're doing. It has to come to play for you to eventually change your business so that you don't fail. Number 1 is being analytical. That means being opportunity savvy. You must look without for opportunities with the aim of satisfying them with the resources within. That's being analytical. You can't just go through your daily business and weekly business activities without looking out for opportunities. It is those opportunities that you look out for and for which you have resources to satisfy are those that will eventually help you go from where you are to success. So you're looking out for how the market has changed. You're looking out for new trends in the market. Remember how the Nokia CEO said that they did nothing wrong, but they still failed. Now, the second principle of metamorphosis that you need to keep in mind is the willingness to be understood and misunderstood. As you communicate your vision of how your company should change from where you are to where you would like to go, you must have both the willingness to be understood and misunderstood. Having the willingness to be understood only will sink you into a pit of negativity. Having the willingness to be misunderstood only without the willingness to be understood, your approach will be ruthlessly unrefined. So you wouldn't care who does not understand you. You just have the willingness to be misunderstood. So in that kind of scenario, you may likely find it difficult to galvanize and get your team together to pursue the change that you want to make happen. Third principle of metamorphosis is courage. For every time you think about changing your current situation, you would have to step out of your comfort zone, and that requires courage. You can't do it without courage. Of course, I've done a couple of videos where you would need courage to progress as an entrepreneur. You might want to check out this one here. These are the 3 rules of entrepreneurship that you would need to obey if you want to succeed as an entrepreneur. Remember, I said the 4th rule will be in the next video, so you might want to turn on that notification bell so that you get notified when the next video drops. You might also want to share this video with your friends. You could be helping somebody build a lasting business. Till I come your way next time. Peace.